Hi guys, welcome to Class 4, Academic Writing 3. The topic for today is annotated bibliographies. If you haven't already, make sure you've printed out or that you have a copy of this week's handout on another device so you can follow along. So hopefully you've been taking a lot of notes, been doing a lot of research on potential sources for your senior thesis. Maybe you've been keeping analogs such as this, or maybe post-it notes, or perhaps you've been organizing your information digitally on a spreadsheet. What's the next step? Well, you guys are going to create what's called an annotated bibliography. It looks really fancy, the name looks kind of obscure, but actually it's quite simple. So what I'd like you guys to do is to pause the video and read the top part of the handout and then try task 1. When you're ready to continue and check your answers for task 1, unpause the video. Okay, so as the description says, an annotated bibliography is simply a document that researchers use to summarize one particular source that they've been reading. Okay, that's basically all it is. If you take a master's course, this is probably one of the first assignments that your professors will give you. So what's in the annotation itself? As you can read, definitely it'll include a summary paragraph, and sometimes it'll also include an evaluation and relevance paragraph. What's the content that belongs within each paragraph? So this is where you try task 1. So again, I'm assuming that you've done this already. If you haven't, pause it and then continue the video. Anyhow, let's check. So the summary could include A, E, or G, right? So the main points, relationships to other studies in the field, and information about the author's background. Evaluation. An evaluation paragraph, C and F, right? So the source, strengths, and weakness, and an evaluation of the research methodology. So research methodology basically refers to how the study was carried out. For instance, you'd perhaps, let's say you're looking at a survey, you would want to check how old it is and how many people they asked. How reliable the research methods were. And then finally for relevance, B, D, and H, right? So this is where you can actually write a bit more personally. For instance, how it can be used for your current thesis, if the source is relevant, obviously, in your field of study, and your personal conclusions about the source. So this is probably the only time in academic writing that I'll allow you guys to use personal pronouns such as I or my. Let's take a look at the structure. So this is the typical structure of an annotated bibliography. By the way, this is one that an APU student created 2 years ago, I believe. So you have your citation at the very top, right? And so this is done in APA. By the way, if your professor requires a different citation method, such as Chicago or MLA, please post the same style. All right, so this is the exact citation that you'd use in your reference page or works cited page, so pay attention to the document formatting. And then after that, 3 paragraphs, at least for this assignment that I'm going to have you guys do. I want 3 paragraphs. 1 summary paragraph, an evaluation paragraph, and then finally a relevance paragraph. Okay? So for homework this week, you guys are going to try 1, and then in 2 weeks, you're going to submit 4 total. Okay, so I hope you're watching this early and getting a head start on your homework. Let's take a look at page 2. All right, so here's some resources and information to help you write this. Okay, so again, don't feel intimidated by this project. It's basically summarizing one source that you're reading. Okay, here are some questions that you can ask within the body. So take a look at the questions 1 to 5, right? So you need to answer all those questions 1 to 5. And here are some helpful tips. So according to last week's lecture, make sure that you find high quality sources, right? So please don't submit something from Wikipedia or somebody's Twitter feed, okay? Next, read the whole source before writing. So be careful with your reading process, right? So you'll need to maybe read your source multiple times before you can really properly summarize it. And this assignment, you're going to flex your summarizing and paraphrasing muscle. Remember, to summarize, you're going to shorten something that's long into something that's short and digestible, right? You're only going to write about the main parts, the essential elements. So do not plagiarize anything. So no copy and pasting. So you'll have to paraphrase, use your own words. And before you submit, make sure you double check the citation and document formatting because that's a component of your grade. Now, I highly suggest you check out the helpful links that are embedded within the PDF document. They're active, so you can just click on them. There's a couple of guides there that you can check about how to write it and other samples. So you can check out those two below. I believe the second one from Ashford actually even has an online module about annotated bibliographies. About the citation, I mean, there's so many sources out there. The Purdue OWL is probably the best, especially if you're doing APA. Excuse me, APA. Now, if you access this link and you scroll up, you're going to notice this. It has Cite Your Source Automatically an APA tool, and you can plug in a URL or a title of the work, and it'll cite it automatically. Now, it's not cheating, so feel free to use these citation websites, such as this one or even Citation Machine. But you should be aware that sometimes these are not the most accurate citations, so that's why it's very helpful to know the rules. So for instance, you might enter a website of an article and it misses the authors of the article. And it's much easier to cite a source when you have the article, the author. So please trust me on this one. So, use it as a way to check, but you should know the rules of how to cite in APA, MLA, or Chicago, whatever you're using. Now, I've also included this YouTube video from Dr. Chris Copeland, and he basically takes it step by step about how to write an annotated bibliography, including the formatting. What I really like about this video is that you see his process in action. So you see him reading a paper and then actually paraphrasing it. So that might give you a good idea of how to paraphrase and summarize efficiently. So I would recommend checking out his YouTube video. All right, so as you notice on page 3, that's a description of the Paper 1 Annotated Bibliography assignment, or AB assignment. Coming up in June 2nd, so that's hopefully a week from now because you decided to work ahead. You just have to submit one, because I'm just going to check it to see if you're doing the right thing, if the formatting is correct. And then the following week, June 9, you're going to submit the remaining 3. And if I gave you any feedback about the first one, I want you to correct it and submit it as a set of 4. So over the course of 2 weeks, you're going to write 4 total. You're going to submit 1 next week, and you're going to submit the remaining 3 by June 9th. Okay? Don't feel intimidated by this paper topic. It's just detailed notes. And there are a lot of online resources to help you. And I hope that this assignment will help organize your research information. So when it comes time to write your thesis, you'll have these already summarized and paraphrased sentences that you can use in your paper. All right, so get writing your first AB.